Hey guys, it's Ross again. So today I'm going to be doing another tutorial, and this one's going to be on lighting and shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and open Photoshop. So the picture I'm going to be using is of Ty Lawson. So I'm going to go ahead, click open, and go open it up. So okay, so I have that open, and I'm going to make a new document, 1600 by 1600, 300 resolution. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Lawson document picture, and I'm going to drag it out to the side. Get rid of that. And then what you can do is you could take this picture and drag it onto your canvas. So to do that, you just make sure you're on the move tool, and you click and just drag over, and then let go, and it will just bring him into the next document. And remember the keyboard shortcuts. If you need to know what they are, I will say them again, or you could go in my last video to do simple edits. So to do them, you do Command or Control 0 to get it to fit the screen, hold Shift to resize the image and keep it in proportion, a little bit bigger. Okay, so that looks good. And then press check and Command 0 or Control 0 to zoom back in. I didn't say this in my last video, but Command or Control plus zooms in, or Command or Control minus zooms out. So you could play around with those to get, closer and further when you're doing masking. So I'm gonna go ahead and mask with the quick selection tool. I didn't really mention, I guess I did, last time I spoke about the brackets. I didn't talk about this one right here. You use this to add to your selection, and you use the minus to take away from your selection. So what you could do is use the plus and select what you want to cut out. So you can go ahead and just cut it all out. So once you have it all cut out, what you could do next is Command or Control J to put on a separate layer. Gotta resize Photoshop. 1 second. Now it fits. So now what you gotta do is, now that you have them on a new layer, you can clean them up a little with the eraser tool, and just zoom in, make sure you're on the layer of the player, and you could just use the eraser tool, just kind of clean up the edges. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, to show the lighting and shadows, I'm going to open up a new background I have saved on my computer. And it's just a basketball wood floor that you could use. And just take it out and drag it into the new one. And make sure it's below him. And to make the perspective work, what you do is go to Edit, Transform, and then Perspective. And now to make it all fit, you press Command 0 or Control 0. And you just use these points, and you could drag it in or out. I have to drag it out because the floor is going to be more close to the ground. So you need to make sure to get the right angle. So I'm just going to make him a little bit smaller. Once you get the floor all settled out, I'm going to put a link to this floor in the description so you can get that, and the picture too. So if you want that, you could just click, go to the description. So to add a shadow, what I usually do is I press Command J on the player, and then I hold Command or on Windows Control, and I click in the box. And what that does is it brings back the selection of the player. So what you do after that is you go Edit, Fill, and say Black. And press OK. So you'll notice that now it's filled in black. And what you do now after that, to make sure that the black layer is below the player, and you can make sure you're on the black layer and go to Edit, Transform, and Flip Vertical. So now what that will do is it will turn the shadow that you're going to use upside down. And then to play around with that, you could press Command or Control T, and then Command or Control 0. And if you hold Command while you're using the boxes, it'll like change the look of the layer. So what you do there is you kind of like stretch it out a little bit, give it some depth. And then usually after that, what I do is I go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. And then I turn the radius up so it looks about right. So we'll go with around there. And then you change the opacity. And then what you could also do is make a new layer and get out your brush and pick the first one, which is a softer brush, and make sure you have black as your foreground color, and you just click and press Command or Control T, and you could just stretch it down and put it under each one of their feet to kind of give it another kind of shadow look. Just kind of add on. Do that, turn the opacity down a little bit, and duplicate that layer, so Command or Control J. Put it onto the other foot, adjust it a little bit. Okay, so now you notice that the picture that I have, the lighting doesn't necessarily match up with it. So what you could do is there's this tool over here, and it's called, they have the dodge tool and the burn tool. And what they do is the dodge tool makes things lighter and the burn tool makes them darker. So because of the way that my picture is working right now, it's showing that there's light coming from behind. So in order to do that, I would have to make the inside parts of him darker and the outsides lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and select the player level and use the burn tool on the inside of him to make him darker on the inside. And then I'm going to take the dodge tool and make around the edges brighter. Lighten that up a little bit. Too dark. And then another good thing to do is if you add a light source, it helps because it kind of gives it more of a realistic feel. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Spotlight. I'll use this one. So take the picture out and then drag it in. Get it so it's coming from above. And resize. And so in order to get rid of the darker colors surrounding the light, what you have to do is you go into multiply. You go into screen, sorry. And then you want to make sure that it's not really going within the picture. So you want to make sure that the whole thing is filling the picture, so there's no weird lines. So lower the opacity a bit. And so that's just a basic lighting and shadow. There's some other techniques that I could show you, so I'll just go ahead and show you another way to do it. So you have to get back Okay, so the other way to do it is you have your player, you have your background, so you put your player on top of the background, and what you want to do is, so this is usually for when the lighting is from either the side or from behind. It usually works really well. So what you want to do is you press the layer mask button and press Command or Control I, so that will get rid of the player. And before you do that, actually, what you want to do is duplicate him, so Command J. And I don't know if I said this before, but Command Z and Command Alt Z are both undo. So instead of going to Edit, Undo, you could just do Command Z or Shift Command Z, which helps you get back a lot easier. So you want to choose the top layer to add the layer mask on, and then Command or Control I. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the paintbrush and make sure it's on white, and you're just going to outline the area that you want the light to show. So again, I'll do it coming from above, so you could just outline his arm, his head, and anywhere else the light would kind of shine in the picture. So that's basically where it'll be. So what you do then is you select the player and you go to Image, Adjustments, and then you go to Brightness and Contrast. So you're going to want to make the brightness of this one higher, so all the way up. And then we'll do for the bottom layer, we'll do Edit, Image, Adjustments, and then Brightness and Contrast, and we'll turn this one down in brightness. And you can kind of turn the opacity down on this a little bit. And then you can add your light, and it'll still kind of give it the same effect, but typically the mask works for light behind a lot better, because I'll show you if you go full outline, the whole body, it makes it look like there's light shining from behind them. And if you put a light source from behind, it looks really good. Like in my John Wall design I posted on my Instagram account. You could check that out to see what it looks like from the light coming from behind. And then you could just add the shadows like I said before. Just make it kind of feel more realistic. And so yeah, that's a tutorial on lighting and shadows. So if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. And don't forget, like and subscribe.